Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. So today, for your pleasure, I have another featuring for you, and you might recognize this name, because this is Cartoon JR, and the last time I featured him, which was more or less exactly 3 months ago, he was in the R3 T20FA-HS, aka the Italian Rank 3 Battle Rating 3.7 SPA, which is ridiculously fast and has this stupid fully stabilized 20mm. But in this battle, Cartoon JR will show us that he also has mastered the art of heavy tank, because he is in the German Rank 3 Battle Rating 4.7 Premium Heavy Tank, the Pz.Kpfw C756R, aka the German KV-1 with the long 75 from the Panzer IV-H. And this is a devastating mixture. So first of all, the Panzergranate 39, the APCBC round, has 140mm of pen with a muzzle velocity of 750 meters per second, which sounds surprisingly low, but it still gets the job done. Then, as we can see with the ammunition loadout, he also has a heat shell that has only 450 meters per second muzzle velocity and a mere 80mm of penetration, but is great for hull break. And if you come across some other KV-1s at longer distance, you might have the Pz.Kpfw 40 available, which is the APCR round, with 930 meters per second muzzle velocity and 166mm of penetration. And we can see how effective the armor is, because while the tank retains the hull armor of, I guess, a KV-1E, by the way, that's his first kill, the turret is rounded and has some overlapping cast armor, and it is 105mm thick, so the turret is really tricky. The weak spot is the very prominent and big Commander's Cupola, which has 50 and 30mm of combined armor, so effectively 80mm, and that might be the weak spot. But at low tiers, not everybody knows this tank, not everybody is familiar with it, and the funny thing is that Cartoon JR is feeding the Soviets their own medicine straight through the front plate and giving the crew a disastrous headache. But the start is relatively slow, so we have 2 kills so far, and he is not going for the objective. In fact, he is deep into enemy territory, and this is also where they might not expect him. That is a non-penetration at the angled front of a T-34-57, which beats him with the reload, but, you know, that is the difference in armor and also experience, I guess, because the second shot went through the turret. So, 3 kills so far. And another thing is that this is a replay, so we can see the name tags of the enemies, but Cartoon JR wasn't able to do so because this is a realistic battle, and when you play the match, you don't see those markers, of course. And one of the greatest tips that I can give you for getting better at War Thunder is to watch your own gameplays, watch your own replays, you know. Everybody can do this, everybody can learn greatly from this, because even on a very good match, as Cartoon JR will demonstrate here today, you can see that you have overlooked so much when there was an enemy straight visible for us all to see, even without the name tag, but you were just concentrating on a different portion of the screen. And especially for new players, especially for players that are switching from realistic battle, from arcade to realistic battle, this is one of the most mightiest tools to teach yourself. And trust me, it might sound boring, it might sound a waste of time, but, you know, invest the 10-20 minutes for 1 or 2 of your own replays to look around. Where were the enemies? What did the enemies see of you? And while, you know, you still have to train a little bit to get the most out of the replay, I think you can really profit from this. You can learn from your own mistakes, because then you are aware of your own mistakes. And that is, I think, the biggest and fastest and best way to really teach yourself to get better. And in the long run, you will definitely profit. You will get more civilians, more RP. You will do the stock grind with tanks faster. You will grind overall quicker. And you have more fun and you're more effective. Another tip is to play together in a platoon with some of your clanmates if you're in a clan. With some of your friends, Just troll around. And also, be vigilant. Watch your surrounding. And otherwise, he wouldn't have seen that guy coming. And that's his first ace. So, listen to your surrounding. Adjust the settings for the sound. And again, watch your replays. So, with that, yeah, that was a good crew knockout on an ASU-57. Those little buggers are really dangerous because they can hide in the smallest of covers and behind every bush, etc. But here he saw him for his 6th kill. Now, so far, half the points of his team has ticked down. We're already approaching 7 minutes of the gameplay. And here he takes out the gun breach of an enemy tank. And he easily has him. He tries the same spot again, but it doesn't really pan through, aka gets absorbed by the gun breach, and so this gives him the assist. He gets strafed by an aircraft, but you don't have to worry about too much in a KV-1, or you don't have to worry too much about aircraft strafing you with gunfire in a KV-1, because you have thick side and rear armor even, and the front is even better than the Tiger's armor, at a lower battle rating still. The downside of this tank is that it has, not the greatest mobility, top speed and maneuverability. So this is one of those things where you really have to watch out. And while the gun is absolutely fantastic on this tank, the gun depression kind of is unexpectedly bad with -6 degrees. That's better than the usual 5 degrees from the Soviets, but it's not as good as the usual 10 degrees of gun depression that you get from the Panzer IV series with more or less the same gun. But anyway, now he is in a position where he is more or less hull down, although the hull is one of the strong points, and that was a great shot versus a KV-1E, one of the best protected tanks on the enemy team, but the turret cheek just simply wasn't able to deal with the Panzergranate 39. So his team meanwhile has battled themselves through, and foolish Sys-12 by a guy that funnily enough has the veteran decal for at least a year or 3 to log in. I didn't see the decal quite enough. But anyway, now his gun barrel is orange, and he has to repair, hence why he's hesitating. Also in this position, a KV-1 could in theory aim for the cupolas, the commander's cupola, and that is one of those dangerous things about this tank. But it seems like the enemy is not aware. He aimed for the lower corner of the turret, which is flat, but sadly, yeah, he didn't penetrate, but there, he penned, and that's his double ace. And, that's before he even entered the cap. But I think that this is a great way to deal with the flanks. This is a great way to rack up the kills, but you don't have to miss the chance to really take care of the objective. In this case, a lot of things come together. Positioning, luck, vigilance, situation awareness, and obviously also his team being somewhat capable. And to achieve great results, it's always the same. You have to be a really good player and you have to have a lot of luck. But your team must suck just a little bit, but not too much to get steamrolled by the enemy, but still enough to feed the enemy's points so that the enemies that you kill can come back so you can kill them again. War Thunder, it's fantastic game design. Okay, virtual cookie if you got that reference. Anyway, there is a T-34 behind him, and this is where, yeah, a little bit of lag spike comes in, and he has to run for it. There is an Su-57B, and he doesn't see him. Again, this was one of those moments where we could clearly see this in the replay, but he couldn't. But what he is aware of is the two T-34s that he sees there. He dunks the shell into the ridgeline, and in theory this is bad, but then he gets support from, I guess, a whirlwind that blinds the T-34 and allows him to reverse good enough. The T-34 dunks another shell, gets blinded by the whirlwind, and this allows Cartoon JR to get the dozen kill hit mark. So 12 kills. And the second T-34 also got blinded by the whirlwind. Now he is really nervous, I guess, and both miss the shots at each other. The whirlwind blinds him again, and then a good side penetration. There is the Pz.Kpfw, also a vehicle that is much like the R3, too good as an SBA for its battle rating. Another KV-1 misses the shot at range, and he takes him out with a clean punch straight through the front plate. That's the triple ace, 15 kills, and not one of his crew members is injured. And this is the terrifying thing about this tank, because it has the armor of a Russian tank, but a German gun, with the German gun handling and also the German ammunition and the German reload of 5.9 seconds for a fully trained ace crew. Just saying, so that you get a feel of how good this tank is. It's not the greatest tank in a full up tier when you meet some nasty opposition, but when you get a down tier like this, especially versus the Russians, happy farming times. So this is now where Cartoon JR, after 2 assists and 15 kills, finally secures the cap once more to stop the ticket bleed and starts the ticket bleed on the enemy team. Now obviously this is now where they must not lose the cap, because, you know, it's questionable if they get it back. And he dies here, and if he dies here, then it's questionable if he gets back in time to win the game for his team. His spider senses are kind of tingling, and yeah, we can see here the what is it called, Yak 1029K, which then gets hull broken with a beautiful shot, and then a foolish Cis-12 tries to shoot him again, and there he probably should have used his main gun, because he only injures the driver. However, the Cis-12 is going back into cover wisely, and oh yeah, that is Soviet armor resisting those tiny Soviet bombs. You know, it's really confusing, and especially it's also amusing that especially the Soviets have a really hard time dealing with this tank. That's kind of ironic, isn't it? So now he assumes that there are enemies behind him. He doesn't get panicked by the Cis-12's 25mm, but he doesn't see the KV-1 because he's behind dust and you know, all the kicked up dust. So here he gets his kill number 16, and oh, is this an enemy? And both bounces each other's shot, but who beats him with the reload? Nobody. So that is his kill number 17, and he is now defending the cap, but he is tracked, and by moving around he absolutely always interrupts the repairing process. But I guess he is really nervous right now. He hears all the game sounds all around him. Where is the next enemy coming from? How to angle? Does he have the time to repair his tracks? That's the question. And those are the really exciting moments in War Thunder. When you have this great result and you want to bring it home. You want to carry your team. But there is always the chance that you die in the last remaining seconds of the match. It has happened to me so often that ruined so much awesome footage for you guys, where I was like also having 11-12 kills, and then just in the dying seconds of the match I got killed, and I was like, no! But it seems like so far Cartoon JR is still completely unharmed when it comes to his crew, and he charges forwards. And then decides to flank the enemy team through the middle, because War Thunder map design. And so in the dying seconds of the match, he finds himself a BTR 152 for his kill number 18. Kill number 18. and he bounces, just for good measure, a shot with a KV-1. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the game. And would you look at this post-battle result screenshot. Now, wait a minute, because there are some very interesting informations. First of all, 114,000 civilians and nearly 9,000 RP for 18 kills, 3 assists and 1 cap is absolutely fantastic. And 20,000 civilians came from the Mission Maker, which requires first and last kill of the match, Survivor, and also Heavy Metal Hero Award, together with some other awards, adding up to 20,000 civilians, and that on a free-to-play account. Now, the funny thing is, 8 months ago, CartoonJR was ranked 64 and had a mere 7.3 million civilians. Now he's ranked 83 and has 11 million civilians on a free-to-play account. But obviously in this battle he had the benefit of a premium tank, which kind of never loses its premium status advantage. So thank you so much, CartoonJR, for sending in that replay with the post-battle result screenshot, and it was a pleasure to watch. Keep continuing your success story in War Thunder. It is absolutely amazing. I've not forgotten about you, and in fact this is what people should look up to when to send a email in such a format that I can actually use it, you know, with the actual replay file and with the post-battle result screenshots. And in this battle, everything that happened was kind of obvious. So anything that requires you to send an email that has a chance for me to feature you on my channel as a guest feature, you can actually wait for me to release a video on how to actually do this. I'll release it in a few days' time. Anyway, again, thank you, CartoonJR, for sending this in. It was a pleasure to watch, and with having said this, that's it for me today. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Please give this video a like with it. Subscribe if you want to see more. Let me know in the comment section if you think this was entertaining. And as usual, we'll see each other on the waves, in the skies, and on the battlefields of War Thunder.